Okay, right. So you know there are few of the limitations, okay, of Bernoulli's equations. Okay, so we'll try to understand. So when the velocity of the fluid particles will not be uniform in a pipe flow. Okay, so let's say this is a pipe and this is the central axis. Okay, so there will be friction, right, at the surface here. Okay, so due to the surface, the velocity of the fluid particle which is sticking to this surface will be zero. Okay, so as the fluid particle uh, approach the center, the velocity increase. So if you check the velocity profile, the velocity profile will be something like this. So the maximum velocity will occur at the center and the minimum velocity will occur at the pipe surface. Okay, at the two pipe surface. So here you have the maximum velocity. Okay, and rest all you have less velocity, so you have to take the average velocity. Okay, so whenever you are using the Bernoulli's equation, you should take the average velocity, but this is not considered, okay, while you are deriving the equation. Okay, so this is first limitation. Okay, so what is that limitation? The velocity of the fluid particles in the center of the pipe will be maximum and it will gradually decrease towards the walls of the pipe, okay, due to friction. Okay, so this mean velocity of the fluid, okay, should be considered, which is not taken into account in the Bernoulli's equation, right? So this is the first limitation. Okay, so second one is there are some other external forces, okay, which are acting on the fluid, okay, which affects the flow of the liquid. Okay, so that means we have taken only pressure force and gravity and we have ignored all the other forces. Okay, but yet in the real fluid flow there will be other external forces. Okay, maybe wind or any other external force, some disturbance from some other external forces. Okay, so that had to be considered, but those are ignored. So that is the second limitation. Okay, that is some external forces other than the gravity and pressure force may affect the flow of fluid, that is being ignored. Okay, right. So that is second one. So then the third limitation is, whenever you have a turbulent flow, okay, some of the kinetic energy is converted into heat energy. Okay, whenever you have turbulence, the velocity, okay, or the kinetic energy is converted into heat energy. Okay, and this energy is, and whenever you have the viscous flow or the laminar flow, some energy is lost due to shear forces. Okay, so this loss, okay, so these forces are neglected. Okay, so that is the third limitation. Okay, so I'll summarize the three limitations. So the first limitation is, the velocity of the fluid at the center will be maximum and it will gradually decrease across the walls of the pipe. Okay, so therefore the mean velocity should have been considered, which is not done in the Bernoulli equation. So this is first limitation. Okay, second limitation is the forces. Okay, so there are some other forces, okay, some other significant forces other than the pressure and gravity force which have not been considered. Okay, and the third limitation is, if you take a viscous flow or a laminar flow, there will be some energy lost due to shear forces. Okay, and in the turbulent flow, some of the kinetic energy will be lost due to heat. Okay, gets converted into heat and the energy is lost. So these energy or forces, okay, responsible for these losses, the forces responsible for these losses are not considered. Okay, so these are few of the limitations of the Bernoulli equation. Okay, so next we'll move to the application part. Okay, so these Bernoulli's equations, they are used in real fluid measuring devices. Okay, so they are used extensively in fluid flow measurements. Okay, the basic types of fluid flow measurements are Venturi meter, orifice plate, and pitot tube. Okay, so these are the basics ones. Again, you have rotameter, and how you and flow meter, nozzle meter, okay, and so on. Okay, so there are so many other. Give me a second. Yeah. Okay, so there are other measuring equipments which all work on Bernoulli's principle. Okay, but we discuss only 3 types. Okay, for our course. So those are Venturi meter, okay, orifice plate, and the third one, pitot tube. Just give me a second. Amazon ಇಂದನಾ? ಹಾ, ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಕೊಡಿ, ನಾನು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಹಾ, ಓಕೆ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Okay, so Venturi meter, orifice plate, and pitot tube. Okay, so these are the 3 devices which we will be studying as part of the application of Bernoulli's equation. Okay, there are other devices, as I said, rotameter, then you have your turbine flow meter, nozzle meter, etc. Okay, all work on Bernoulli's principle. Okay, I'll tell you the basic funda of this. It's very simple. Okay, whenever you have a pipe, okay, and you have some obstruction, okay, so you create some obstruction. Okay, so let's say this is, I'll keep a some ball or something, okay, some stone or something, okay, in the flow field. Okay, so this is obstruction. Okay, so whenever you want to measure the flow rate, this is what we do, okay, in any of the device. So you create some obstruction. Okay, so due to the obstruction, the passage area, the flow area will reduce. Okay, right? So if you take some section here, the flow area is the entire diameter. Okay, but here if you take, it will be, let's say the diameter of the pipe is capital D, then here the diameter of this is small d. So then what happens here, the reduced flow area will be d minus d, okay, based on this diameter. Okay, so the area will be based on this diameter, so the flow area got reduced. Okay, so if you reduce the flow area, okay, if you reduce the flow area, what should happen to velocity from our continuity equation? It should increase, because A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. Okay, so if you decrease the area, obviously velocity should increase. So again, in the Bernoulli's equation, the total energy is constant. Okay, the total energy is constant. So in that case, if the velocity increases, then what should happen to pressure? It should obviously decrease, because the total sum of energy at any section, at let's say section here or section 2, they should be equal. Okay, the energy should be constant. So if you just play with energy, okay, so if you increase the velocity, pressure will decrease. So you note down what is the decrease in pressure with the help of some manometer. You put some manometer here. Okay, put some manometer, any kind of manometer, or you measure the pressure difference using any device. Okay, so that delta P, okay, if you input, then you will be able to find out the actual velocity. Once you find the velocity, then discharge Q is equal to A into V. Okay, just put the velocity value and the area value you will get the flow rate. Okay, so this is how all the instruments work based on the Bernoulli's equation. Okay, so I have given you an overall picture of this. We will take the each of this one by one. Okay, so this particular session, you will be able to understand what do you mean by hydraulic coefficients. These coefficients, are defined based on the devices what we study. Okay, then discuss the practical applications of the equation, Bernoulli theorem, identify different flow measuring instruments, and you should be able to discuss the Venturi effect. So derive the expression for all these devices. Okay, so there are three hydraulic coefficients. These are very important. So one is called as coefficient of contraction, the other one is coefficient of velocity, the other one is coefficient of discharge. So this is very important. So this term will be there for all the energy flow measuring devices. Okay, so we'll start from this one, coefficient of contraction. Okay, so this is significant only in the orifice plate. Okay, so this is there only in the orifice plate and not there in venturimeter or pitot tube. Okay, so what does this mean is, it is the ratio between the area of the jet at the vena contracta to the area of the orifice. Okay, so I'll tell you what is vena contracta, etc. I take up the device. Okay, right. So the typical value of coefficient of contraction will be around 0.64. Okay, the smaller the value, the more effect the vena contracta has. Okay, so second is coefficient of velocity. So this is significant in pitot tube. Okay, so I'll tell more when we take pitot. You will only understand more better when we take that. So the ratio of actual velocity to the ideal velocity, okay, of a fluid jet is called as coefficient of velocity. Okay, so the coefficient of discharge is all fluid flow instruments, to all flow measuring instruments. Okay, so what does coefficient of discharge means? It is the ratio of actual discharge to theoretical or ideal discharge. Okay, so basically that means these are all the losses. Okay, so these are all denote not this. Okay, these two, the coefficient of velocity and the coefficient of discharge, they basically denote the loss. Okay, so while we are playing with energy, okay, so what we did here is we put a obstruction and then we reduce the area. Okay, so when we said we reduced area, velocity increased. So with this kind of arrangement, what we are doing is we are playing with the, or we are altering the total energy, okay, from here to here. Again, when I remove the obstruction, again the flow will become normal. Okay, while this conversion happens, there is some loss. Okay, so always in real life, whatever you try to do, there will be some reaction. Okay, so while we are playing with the energy, we will be losing some energy as well. Okay, there is some loss of energy. So that loss of energy should be quantified, correct? Because we should be able to analyze the loss and try to reduce it, okay, by knowing the cause of it, right? So in that sense, these terms are very important. Okay, so this should be as low as possible. Okay, the loss should be as low as possible. So therefore, the CD value should be as high as possible. Okay, as high as possible, and your common sense would tell you the ratio, when we take a ratio, maximum value can be equal to 1. Okay, so the limiting value is 1, so it should be closer to 1. Okay, right. So these are the hydraulic coefficients. Okay, so next, the practical applications are these three devices what we will be studying. There are other devices as well which we will not touch upon. Okay, so first one is called venturimeter, second is the orifice, third is the pitot tube. So these are all called as differential pressure flow meters. Okay, so I had told you earlier, what you do, whatever is written here, the same thing I explained you in the very start of my class. Okay, so what you do is you create some obstruction. So what will happen, the flow area gets reduced. Because of the reduction in flow area, velocity will decrease, so the pressure will increase. Okay, so therefore you will be getting differential pressure. Okay, if you measure the pressure here and if you measure the pressure here and you take a difference, then you will observe there is some pressure loss because of this arrangement. Again, when you measure here, ideally or theoretically, the pressure here and the pressure here should be equal, but it might not happen because of some loss of energy here. Okay, which is accounted from our term called as coefficient of discharge. Okay, so the same thing is given here. And also, when we talk of the vena contracta, okay, so vena contracta is the position or the point in a flow fluid where the flow area reduces to its minimum. Okay, so what will happen if I try to obstruct the flow? Okay, so if this is a pipe flow, okay, and let's say I obstruct the flow this way, so what will happen, the fluid has to pass like this. Okay, and there is a point, okay, where it reaches minimum. Okay, and again it will diverge and they will flow like this. Okay, so the point where you see the minimum area, so this is the minimum flow area. Okay, so minimum flow area due to this obstruction. Okay, even though I keep the obstruction here, the minimum area will not be here, it will be somewhere away downstream, somewhere downstream this obstruction. Okay, so that is basic physics. Okay, from the physics what we get this. Okay, the behavior of any fluid. Okay, so this is minimum, you might have also observed in your day-to-day life. Okay, right, so whenever you try to obstruct the flow in a pipe, okay, when you are gardening the water, you might see that at some distance away from your obstruction the area will reduce and then again it will diverge. Okay, the same thing happens. So this is the minimum area. Okay, so this is called as vena contracta. Okay, so this point where you observe the minimum area, minimum flow area, that is called as vena contracta. Okay, right, so this are all, this will not derive the expression, we'll be concentrating three. The remaining, all this nozzle meter, flow nozzle, turbine flow meter, etc. You'll be having lab sessions, okay, in the next semester. Okay, right, so these are also flow measuring devices, but these are for external flow. Okay, notches and weaves, they are external flow, and we will not deal in this. This will be of interest for civil engineers. Okay, so for civil engineers, so this will be of interest because these are used for external flow, that is canal, open, passage, etc. So these are for pipe flow. So mechanical engineers are interested in pipe flows, okay, not external flows. Okay, except the aerodynamics, the civil canals, etc. We are not interested. But anyway, nothing stops us from knowing about this, but yet due to time constraint I'll not be able to cover this. You can open any textbook and you will be able to find literature on this, but yet the basic fundamental is very same. Okay, very much similar. Okay, first device is a venturi meter. Okay, so this is named after the scientist who found out this. So it is a Italian scientist. Okay, right, so this device consists of three sections. Okay, so this is called as a converging section. You can see it is converging. Okay, so it is a converging section. This is called throat. Okay, and this is called a diverging section. Okay, so what happens? You converge, okay, and to this area. Okay, so due to the reduction in area, what will happen? The pressure will decrease and the velocity will increase. So you see here the pressure is high. Okay, so this is a manometer or piezometer which measure the pressure. But here what happened? The pressure decreased. So this difference, you measure it. Okay, then from that you should be able to find the flow rate. Okay, so again, once the fluid comes out, again, you have to put it back to the same pipe dimension. So this is the pipe dimensions. Okay, D1 or whatever you call. So again, the pipe, dimension is there. So again, it will, diverge back to the original pipe size, diameter. Okay, so this is called as Venturi effect. Okay, so due to the reduction in area, there will be drop in pressure, and you measure the delta P between the upstream and the throat between section 1 and 2. This is section 1, this is section 2, and then you will be able to get the flow rate, which we'll be deriving in due time. Okay, so the applications where you use all this Venturi meter are listed here. The inspirators, which mix air and flammable gas, in gas stoves, etc. Okay, so then you have the Bunsen burner, okay, and air brushes. They also have the Venturi effect. So atomizers, that disperse the perfume or spray paint. Okay, so you might be using the perfume spray, okay, or a body spray. Okay, so you would see a small nozzle kind of a thing there. Okay, so that is like a Venturi effect. Okay, you basically decrease the area, so the velocity will increase. Okay, so while you might have noticed that the body spray can, you will understand that when you shake it, the perfume will be in liquid state inside. But when you spray, it will be kind of in a atomized state or vaporized state. Okay, that is because of this nozzle is creating this Venturi effect. Okay, right. So then coming to carburetors, okay, which are used in your IC petrol engines, okay, spark ignition engines, they also have this Venturi effect, okay, found in them. So then the capillaries of human circulatory system, okay, wherever a large size blood vessels are connected with smaller sized blood vessels, there also you will see this Venturi effect. Okay, so we are trying to compare the Venturi meter with the orifice meter, and with that, these are the pros and cons. So compared to orifice, this has a low head loss. Okay, the head loss is minimum. Okay, I'll tell you why. CD for a Venturi meter is around 0.95 to 98. Okay, that means only 3 to 5% of the energy is lost, wherein the for orifice it is around 0.6 to 0.65. That means 30 to 35% of the energy is lost for the orifice. Okay, so therefore low head loss for Venturi meter. Then it is less affected by upstream flow disturbance. Okay, so that means if you have some disturbance here, okay, then it is not affected. Okay, less affected. Then it's more robust, self-cleaning, less affected by erosion. So the disadvantage is it occupies more length, okay, and it is more expensive compared to the orifice meter or orifice plate. Okay, so this is the Venturi meter. Okay, I have told you how it works. Okay, basically due to reduction in area, velocity will increase, and therefore in the Bernoulli we know that if velocity increase, then pressure has to drop. Okay, because the total energy has to remain constant. So that is the working principle. Okay, so this is the section. Now we will be trying to derive the expression. Okay, so let d1 be the diameter, okay, of the pipe. Let d2 be the diameter of the throat. Okay, so this is the throat. Okay, let p1, v1, okay, and a1 be the pressure, velocity and area at section 1 respectively. Okay, similarly p2, v2 and a2 be the pressure, velocity and area at the section 2. Okay, so they have given what would be the dimension of the diverging part, converging part, etc. Okay, if you see here, the divergent part is much larger compared to the convergent part. So this is because once the fluid is at this throat, we have to gradually bring that fluid to the original diameter. Okay, so to do that with minimal energy loss. Okay, so that is why it is gradually increased. Okay, create. Okay, okay, so I told you P1, V1, A1, okay, all this. So just apply these are the two sections, okay. This is section 1, okay, and this is section 2 here. So here I have a piezometer or a manometer. You can keep anything to measure the difference of pressure. Okay, so apply the Bernoulli's equation between section 1 and 2. So you have this expression. So as the pipe is horizontal, Z1 is equal to Z2. So they cancel out. Okay, so what you are left with, this P1 by rho g plus V1 square by 2g equal to P2 by rho g plus V2 square by 2g. Okay, you take pressure term on one side, velocity on other. So P1 minus P2 by rho g equal to V2 square by 2g minus V1 square by 2g. But this is nothing but H. Okay, so whatever H we are seeing here, this is nothing but difference of pressure head. Okay, it is nothing but difference of pressure head. Okay, so what is the pressure head? That is nothing but P1 minus P2 by rho g. Okay, so this is also similar to your hydrostatic law. Delta P is equal to rho gh, or H is equal to delta P by rho g. Okay, so H is equal to delta P by rho g. The same thing is what is this one. Okay, so therefore I can write H is equal to P1 minus P2 by rho g. So substituting the value of this, I can write H is equal to V2 square by 2g minus V1 square by 2g. So now you have to express V1 in terms of V2. Okay, so invoke your continuity equation. So therefore V1 equal to A2 V2 by A1. So this one. So just substitute that back here. Okay, so V1 is equal to A2 V2 by A1, A2 V2 by A1 the whole square divided by 2g. Just substitute here. Okay, then simplify. You can take V2 square by 2g common. So you have 1 minus A2 square by A1 square. Okay, you can take the LCM. So it will be A1 square minus A2 square by A1 square. Okay, so you take the square root on both sides. So V2 will be equal to under root 2gh into A1 upon under root of A1 square minus A2 square. Okay, so this is what you get. A1 by A1 square minus A2 square into root 2gh. This is V2. So you know discharge Q is equal to A2 into V2. So A2 into V2 here you have just substitute. So finally you get the expression as A1 A2 into root 2gh divided by under root of A1 square minus A2 square, where A1 is the area of the pipe and A2 is the area at the throat. Okay, so this equation is called as theoretical discharge. So this is called theoretical discharge, that is discharge under ideal conditions. Okay, so but in actual case, what will happen? The actual discharge will be less than the theoretical discharge. So therefore Q actual is equal to CD into actual theoretical discharge. Okay, so Q actual is equal to CD into Q theoretical. But what is Q theoretical? This one. Okay, A1 A2 under root of A1 square minus A2 square into root 2GH. Okay, so just substitute that value. So Q actual equal to CD into this, or CD is Q actual by Q theoretical. So this is from the definition of the coefficient of discharge. So coefficient of Venturi meter, its value is less than 1 and is almost equal to 0.95 to 0.98. So the manufacturer who will be manufacturing this Venturi meter, he has to experiment or test the equipment, and he will be providing this value. He will be providing this value. Okay. So this is about the derivation of the expression to determine the flow rate or the discharge through a Venturi meter. Okay, you have any questions? Kindly ask. At once. Okay, so the objective of this session is the different types of orifice meters used in the engineering applications. You should be able to derive the expression for calculating the flow rate across this orifice meter and discuss the importance and its advantages over the Venturi meter. Okay, so orifice meter is a conduit or a restriction to create a pressure drop. Okay, so what you do is it is like a sorry okay, so in the flow you will be having a circular hole. Okay, so this you have a circular plate. Okay, a circular plate with a hole at the center. Okay, so that is called as a orifice plate. Okay, so here you have the material and there is a hole at the center. Okay, so this is called a orifice plate. Okay, so if you see, this is the hole. Okay, and till here it is the obstruction. Okay, right, all are obstruction flow meters. Okay, so it can be used as the flow restriction. Okay, so you have to, as I told you, the equipment manufacturer will give you the value of CD. That is what is meant about the calibrating. Okay, so the advantages are flow can be determined accurately without the need of actual fluid flow calibration, and these are cost effective. These are less costly compared to Venturi meter. Okay, right. So these are the two advantages. Okay, you can see these are different types of orifice meter. You can have a concentric orifice meter or you can have a eccentric. So this is a concentric. Okay, because these two are concentric. So here you see this is eccentric and this is a segment. Okay, the semicircle kind of a orifice meter. Okay, right. So now we'll try to derive the expression for the flow through the orifice meter. Okay, so this is a pipe. Okay, and here we have kept the orifice plate. Okay, and this much you have created the obstruction. Here there is a hole. Okay, at the center. So all the water has to flow through this small hole. Okay, so while doing this, it will reach the minimum flow area. Okay, that is known as vena contracta. So this section here, is called as vena contracta. Okay, so the pipe, the section 1, is located almost 1.5 to 2 times the diameter of the pipe upstream. Okay, and the 2, that the vena contracta, is located at 0.5 times the diameter of this pipe. This is some observation values, okay, what they have found out. So both these sections are connected with the help of differential manometer. Okay, so the manometer we studied, right? So they are connected with that differential manometer. Okay, so orifice plate consists of a flat circular plate which has a circular hole, okay, which is concentric with the pipe. Okay, so generally the orifice dia is 0.5 times the dia of the pipe. Okay, that means if this diameter of the pipe is 10 mm, the orifice dia will be 5 mm. Okay, right. So now let us, very similar to venturimeter derivation, we'll say let P1, V1 and A1 be the pressure, velocity and area at section 1. Okay, P2, V2, A2 be the pressure, velocity and area at the section 2 respectively. So you apply the Bernoulli's equation. Okay, so then you can write H is equal to P1 by rho g plus Z1 minus P2 by rho g plus Z2. Okay, so therefore H, this is nothing but equal to H. Okay, similar to our previous case. So therefore H is equal to V2 square by 2g minus V1 square by 2g. So you take 2g on the other side, 2gh is equal to V2 square minus V1 square, or V2 is equal to under root of 2gh plus V1 square. Okay, so now we need to find velocity V2. Okay, so the section V2 is at the vena contracta and A2 represents the area at the vena contracta. Okay, so it is difficult to measure the area here. Okay, because this pipe is sealed and we don't know, okay, the area here. So what we have to do is we have to convert the area at the vena contracta in terms of the orifice area, because orifice area is a geometric property, we know it. Okay, so we define a term called as coefficient of contraction, which is equal to the ratio of vena contracta area to the area of the orifice. So therefore A2 can be written as A0 into Cc. Okay, you call this as 2. So next, from continuity equation, A1 V1 equal to A2 V2. So V1 equal to A2 by A1 V2. Okay, but what is A2? Cc into A0. Substitute that here. Cc into A0 upon A1 into V2. Okay, so now substituting the value of V1, that is here. Very similar to venturimeter derivation. Both are same. Only is introduce this. That's it. Okay, only that is the only change. So V2 is equal to under root 2gh plus Cc A0 upon A1 V2 the whole square. Okay, so V2 square, you take the square, V2 square equal to 2gh plus A0 by A1 the whole square into Cc square into V2 square. Okay, so this is the whole root. Okay, there is some error here. Okay, because you see V2 is the whole root. Okay, right. So V2 square 2gh, this much you will get. So therefore V2 is equal to under root 2gh divided by square root of 1 minus A0 by A1 the whole square into Cc square. Okay, understood? I took this term on the other side and I took V2 common. Okay, and I am left with this. Okay, so yeah. Okay. So next, you know this V2. Okay, so V2 is, I'll write it here, V2 is under root 2gh into 1 minus A0 by A1 the whole square into Cc square. Okay, right. root of this. Okay, so now you can write Q is equal to A2 into V2. So just multiply A2. Okay, but A2 is what? A0 into Cc. So here you can write A0 into Cc. Okay, so this is called as theoretical discharge. Okay, so this is called theoretical discharge. So if you want to know the actual discharge, then you have to introduce a term called as CD. Okay, theoretical relation. Okay, CD is equal to Cc into under root of 1 minus A0 by A1 the whole square divided by under root of 1 minus A0 by A1 the whole square into Cc square. Okay, so this is CD. Okay, so here what I have got? Okay, so I know V2 is equal to A0 into Cc. Sorry, not V2. So Q is equal to A2 into V2, but A2 is nothing but A0 into Cc into under root of 2gh. Okay, so next I have written CD is equal to Cc into 1 minus A0 by A1 the whole square divided by 1 minus A0 by A1 the whole square into Cc square. So Cc is equal to CD into this term divided by this term, isn't it? So just substitute that back in this equation. So better I'll write here itself. Okay, so that okay, so we know that from the empirical relation CD is equal to Cc into 1 minus A0 by A1 the whole square under root of this divided by 1 minus A0 by A1 the whole square into Cc square. Okay, now what is Cc? Cc is equal to CD into this term divided by this term. But here you see this term and this term are same and they cancel off. Okay, I am skipping one or two steps, so I can write Q is equal to CD. Okay, that is this CD into A0 under root 2gh divided by this term. Okay, 1 minus A0 by A1 the whole square under root of this. So now take the LCM. So if you take A1 square minus A0 square divided by A1 square. So root of A1 square is A1 and it will come here. So it will become A1. CD A0 A1 root 2gh. So this is Q actual. CD A0 A1 root 2gh divided by A1 square minus A0 square. Okay. Is that clear? So this is the equation, the final expression. Okay, so this is the final expression. So if you look at this expression and the venturimeter expression, they both are the same. Only difference is in venturimeter you had A1, A2. Here you are having A0, A1, where A0 is the area of the orifice, A1 is the area of the pipe. Okay, in venturimeter you had A1, A2, where A2 was the area of the throat. Okay, that is the only change. You have with this, you'll be able to explain the working of pitot tube and then discuss the use of pitot static tube in determining the of the fluid. which is flowing, right? And then also try to solve some numerical problems illustrating the use of pitot tube. So this is known as pitot static tube. Okay, so this is called as pitot. Oh, I'm sorry. So this is called as pitot static tube. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Okay, so there are there are two probes basically in this. One is the static probe. Okay, you can see the two parallel lines here. Okay, so almost here. All right, so that is called as static probe. Okay, so this will be positioned perpendicular to the flow. On the outer wall, we have a total pressure probe that is facing the flow. That is, it is along the flow direction. So these probes are perpendicular to the flow direction and they are placed inside the tube, okay, through the hole, right? So the holes on the outer wall, they house the static pressure tube, static pressure probe, okay, and the hole in the tube tip, that is here, it will have the total pressure probe. Okay, so the difference between the total and the static pressure, will yield something known as dynamic pressure. Okay, and this dynamic pressure is what we need to find. Okay, so another name for dynamic pressure is your velocity head. Okay, velocity head. Okay, so the head, h into s minus 1, okay, when s is greater than 1. So s is the specific gravity of the manometric fluid. Okay, so this head, can be used to calculate the velocity, that is velocity of the fluid that is flowing in this duct. Okay, so this is known as pitot static tube. Okay, so you need to understand a term called as stagnation point. Okay, or stagnation point. I'll tell you what is stagnation point. Then you can have different flow parameters such as pressure, temperature, etc. at this point, or velocity. Okay, so let's say you have a flow that is happening here. Okay, and I'll obstruct the flow. Okay, that means I'll keep some object. Okay, the flow is coming like this, it enters, and somewhere here I'll have some section 1 and somewhere here I'll have section 2. Okay, so when the fluid is coming, and it strikes this object, what should happen to its velocity at section 2? What should happen to the velocity? I'm asking you. Velocity. Okay, so when velocity, if you don't answer or you don't respond, then I'll just go on. Okay, then later don't come back and say I didn't follow this, I didn't follow that and all. Okay, so make a note of that. Okay, so I am telling this on record. Okay, right, so V2 will be equal to 0. So when V2 becomes equal to 0, the energy, the kinetic energy cannot be destroyed. Okay, so that is our conservation of energy principle. Kinetic energy will not get destroyed. Okay, will not be destroyed. So velocity becomes 0, but yet the energy which was there, it will not be destroyed. So what will happen is the energy which was present as in the motion of the fluid, okay, that is the kinetic energy, it gets converted into some other energy. Okay, so it gets converted into pressure energy. Okay, so this point, okay, the point, so if this is obstruction and the fluid is flowing, okay, and this point, you know, the velocity becomes 0. So this point is called as stagnation point. Okay. The point at which the velocity becomes 0 is called as stagnation point, and the properties measured at that point, you know, they are called as stagnation properties. Okay, if I measure the pressure at this point, then it is called as stagnation pressure. If I measure temperature, then it is called as stagnation temperature. If I measure velocity, then it is called as stagnation velocity. Okay, so therefore any stagnation property will be equal to static component plus dynamic component. Okay, so static component is because of the prevailing pressure at that point, prevailing pressure, temperature, or whatever prevailing property. Dynamic is arising because of the velocity becoming 0. Okay, so the dynamic property is basically coming from the kinetic head. Okay, that is your v square by 2. Okay, so this is called as dynamic property or parameter. So if I subtract static quantity from the stagnation, then the resulting parameter is dynamic parameter. Okay, so the same case will happen in pitot tube. So here I have a total pressure probe, and here I have a static pressure probe. So if I take the difference, you know, then here, you know, the difference of this is what I get as dynamic head. Okay, and this, using this, you know, I'll be able to find the velocity. Okay, so it is all comes from this concept, stagnation point. So now let us look at this simple pitot tube. So this was a pitot static tube. Okay, this is called a simple pitot tube. Okay, so a simple pitot tube just has a small glass tube with a bend at right angles as shown in the figure. Okay, so you have a tube and it is bent 90 degrees. Okay, so you take two sections, one section at certain distance away from the entrance of the pitot tube and another section at the entrance of the pitot tube. Okay, so let P1, P1 and, you know, A1 be the pressure velocity area, you know, at section 1 and section 2. Okay, so forget about area, you just write P1, V1 and rho 1. Okay, density, you know, density will remain constant. Okay, so you just consider P1, V1 at this point. Similarly, there will be pressure and velocity at point number 2. Okay, and let the, you know, distance from the central axis of this tube to the surface of the water be capital H, and the rise of the water level from the surface of the pipe, okay, be small h. Okay, this small h, you know, depends on the velocity. Okay, so when the fluid strikes this point, okay, the velocity will become 0. Okay, because the fluid cannot move further, there is an obstruction. Okay, so what will happen when the velocity becomes 0? So this is basically my stagnation point. Okay, as I explained. So now velocity becomes 0, then pressure has to increase. So the increase in pressure is measured from the rise of water level in this column from this point to this point, or, you know, it depends on the velocity, it can go here or wherever. Okay, So let that be h. Okay, so now applying the Bernoulli's equation between these 2 points, I can write the typo error. You will have rho here. You can write P1 by rho g plus Z1 plus V1 square by 2g is equal to P2 by rho g plus Z2 plus V2 square by 2g. Okay, but Z1 is equal to Z2 because both point 1 and 2 they lie on the same line. Okay, and V2 is 0. As I told, V2 is 0. So the velocity here will be V2, it will be 0. So just substitute all the values. Okay, and then P1 by rho g will be equal to h. So you know the hydrostatic law. Okay, P is equal to rho g h, the same thing here. Okay, but here h is equal to P1. Okay, so P1 by rho g is equal to h. Similarly, P2 by rho g, okay, will be equal to h plus h, because as the velocity becomes 0, then the pressure at this point will be equal to the sum of small h and capital H, where this h denotes the static head and this denotes the dynamic head. So static plus dynamic will give you the total pressure at section 2. That is h plus h. So just substitute these values. So P1 by rho g, you can call it as h. Z1, Z2 is 0 plus V1 square by 2g, okay, is equal to P2 by rho g is h plus h. Z2 is 0, V2 is 0. So now again h and h will get cancelled. So you can write V1 square is equal to 2gh. Therefore V1 is equal to under root of 2gh. Okay, so pitot tube will help you to find this h. Once you find this h, use this equation and find the velocity. So this velocity is called as theoretical velocity. Okay, so if you want to determine the actual velocity, so then V1 actual will be equal to CV into under root 2gh. Okay, where CV is called as coefficient of velocity or coefficient of pitot tube, whose value will be around 0.98. Okay, so this is about the derivation of pitot. With this, we'll end this session. Thank you.